Continue this week, but we're going to be talking about some warmer afternoons. This dry weather continues. We're on your side to talk about how warm it's going to get and the next best chance for rain.
And we're talking about how you can stay safe in these drier conditions in the event of a wildfire.
Plus, we're taking you around the world to significant weather events that happen over the weekend.
Live on your side. First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
And Tania joining us again here for Weather Extra. Tania, it's getting very dry out there. It's tough to beat this weather, but dangerously dry conditions. We need to be extra careful.
Yeah, especially when it comes to burning outdoors. And also, if you've noticed, I don't know about you, Wes, but my skin's a lot drier too.
yeah, extra chapstick kind of weather, right? Time to break out the static meter.
Yes.
Yeah, we started getting that winter type air. But I noticed the dew points did come up a little bit. That might keep some areas out of the 40s tonight, but we're still going a lot colder than what some of the forecast guidance has been suggesting, because it's just like desert air.
Yeah.
It's very dry conditions. So you see a big warm up during the day, big drop in temperatures at night. I just want to show you here. These are some reports from our First Alert weather watchers. And look at West Blockton there. Tony Siegel reported a low of 39 degrees, a high of 82. That is over a 40-degree swing in temperatures during the day. So, I mean, talk about trying to maintain a level on that thermostat. It's all over the place, right? We go from 30s and 40s to big warm-ups during the afternoon. So that's one of the big things that we're dealing with right now, and a first alert for another big drop in those temperatures tonight. But right now here on Weather Extra, we'll take you live to Appalachian School. This is here at Straight Mountain in Blount County. Again, that beautiful October glow to the sky out there this evening, but be ready from this point on. Next few hours, that temperatures starts to really go down. Already we're seeing, look at this, some 60s, and just a couple hours ago we were seeing 80s here all over the map. What a change already in those temperatures. And then out the door tomorrow morning, likely seeing some 40s. Went 47 here in Birmingham, 44 around Coleman, Jasper 41, Tuscaloosa 46, Gadsden showing 37. So there's some places in here, Attala, Rainbow City, Southside areas north towards Leesburg Center. We'll likely see some upper 30s. Hoax Bluff, another area there. We might see a few of those 30s on the map tomorrow morning. But further south, you get down into Clay County, places like Alexander City over to Kellington and Rockford and Childersburg, Harpersville areas, Westover. I think tomorrow morning, some mid-40s, certainly a possibility again to start the day. So we've got cold mornings, warm afternoons, driest October since 1924. I checked in with our friends at the National Weather Service today. They went back and looked. 1924 is a year we did not have a single drop of rain in that year as far as what's on record. And it looks like the way this month is going, a similar setup here. We are going to have dry conditions right now, looks like into next week. We're tracking Tropical Storm Oscar. We'll have updates on that system coming up right here on Weather Extra. But speaking of that system, I want to take you to the Bahamas now, where Tropical Storm Oscar made a landfall yesterday. According to the National Hurricane Center, its first landfall was as a Cat 1 hurricane on the on Anagua Island there. And it's actually, that's in the Bahamas with winds at 80 miles per hour. It then made a landfall across Cuba, eastern Cuba, where it then weakened to a tropical storm earlier this morning. But now it's starting to turn more towards the north direction and moving back out over the Atlantic. But heavy rainfall, torrential tropical downpours, winds up to 40 miles per hour impacted Cuba today. Oscar coming as the Caribbean actually is already facing massive power outages. Some parts of Cuba could see up to 20 inches of rainfall. Lots and lots of rain. And in New Mexico, extreme weekend rainfall prompted hundreds of water rescues and left dozens more hospitalized. As Lori Geary shows us now, as first responders are rushing in to help others due to rising floodwaters.
I am sitting on the roof of my cop car, my police truck. I am completely surrounded by water.
Chaves County, New Mexico Sheriff Mike Harrington found himself in need of rescue as torrential floodwaters swamped his cruiser over the weekend.
Those people here on the west side of Roswell, a lot of their houses are flooded and their cars were flooded.
The Roswell area hit particularly hard after a historical amount of rain fell in just a few hours, washing over roads and through neighborhoods, prompting hundreds of water rescues and sending dozens of people to nearby hospitals.
I am sitting on top of my vehicle, and a couple people who were walking through the water came and sat here with me.
Sheriff Harrington and his fellow stranded motorists were among those safely pulled from vehicles or buildings amid raging floodwaters. Flood watches and warnings persisted throughout the region until early Monday morning, and in the daylight hours since, the water has started to recede, revealing the full scope of the damage. Vehicles swept away, now piled up along roadsides or under bridges. A number of homes and businesses flooded out. As Roswell begins the recovery process, it does so having set a new record. The National Weather Service says Saturday's rainfall hit 5.78 inches, just edging out the previous high mark set in November of 1901. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
And taking you across the world now to Italy, where heavy overnight rain caused extensive flooding. People were trapped in their homes while some were stranded on their roofs. At least 40 rescue interventions were carried out across many provinces, the Emilia-Romagna region being the most impacted, with parts of Sicily seeing heavy rainfall as well. There's at least one fatality. And back here in the States, a major vegetation fire breaking out in California's Bay Area Friday afternoon. The blaze was reported around Interstate Highway 580. Fire officials in Oakland say at least 4 structures are damaged. People also in the Caballo Hills area were evacuated.
This was a fast-moving fire. Wind did not help us. Wind spread it very, very rapidly, but when we first got here, just wanted to get crews on each side and just box it in, and we were able to get crews on each side, and with a lot of help with a lot of other jurisdictions, we were able to somewhat contain it. But we still have a lot of work to do, a lot of mop up that's going to take us well into tomorrow evening.
A red flag warning was issued by the National Weather Service for the Bay Area and Central Coast due to critically dry conditions. Wes?
In 30 seconds, we take a quick check on the drought monitor and talk about the ways you can stay safe in the event of a wildfire. We'll be right back. Well, as you can see before the break here on Weather Extra, you've got some flooding, heavy rains impacting other parts of the world. Dry weather for us right now. That's the way it goes. And I was talking the day earlier about, long-range outlook, and we're very dry at the moment, but there's a chance as we go into November, we'll start to see that pattern change. November often brings some more stormy weather across our region, but right now it is going to stay dry. Tomorrow out the door, we have a chilly start early in the day. Afternoon highs will be rising into the 80s. And lots of sunshine for tomorrow. The wind, we'll have a light east-south to east wind coming back later in the day. Just enough breeze. Those humidities plummet during the day, so that's why we have such dangerous fire weather conditions out there, because of those low relative humidities during the day. That breeze comes back in the afternoon. Right now we still have the abnormally dry conditions, but this drought monitor, the last update was this past Thursday. We're likely seeing those moderate drought conditions across a lot more real estate here across the state of Alabama at this time. But this comes as the Alabama Department of Environmental Management is issuing a no-burn advisory until the end of the month in Jefferson and Shelby counties because of the quality of the air, the low humidities, and the dry conditions. Your Shelby County reporter, Ajane Robinson, is on your side after talking with Montevallo firefighters about how to stay safe during this dry weather.
Now, although recreational fires are allowed during this time, Montevallo Fire says burning outdoors is a bad idea right now.
It's getting cooler outside and people are wanting to have their holiday parties and their bonfires and make their s'mores. But Smokey Bear said it, if it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave.
Meaning if you do burn outside for recreational purposes, never leave it unattended.
Burning recreational fires in your fire pits and things like that, still a lot of danger there. You definitely need to be paying attention to your conditions. You need to stay with the fire. You need to keep articles around that would help you extinguish that quickly if it were to get out of hand.
Montevallo Fire says keep in mind you can be held liable if your fire damages you or your neighbor's property. So be cautious and stay up to date with the conditions.
Firefighters work hard to protect us. We spend a lot of time this time of the year dealing with brush fires. Don't be the cause of that problem.
Firefighters tell me conditions are being monitored by the Alabama Forestry Commission, who will issue a new advisory if need be.
And today, Talladega fire units were working on a major brush fire on Iron Nation Road. The fire is currently under control. Well, let's talk about fall. We know that October is typically our driest month of the year, and we haven't seen much rain, but I know what many of you are also looking forward to is catching those fall colors. So what can we expect, and when can we expect more of those peak fall like leaf colors that just make it so beautiful during this time of the year? So as we look across the southeast, you can see here that majority of those southeastern states, including Alabama, we typically see our peak time to see those fall colors across the area really early November to mid-November, and typically peaks around the mid-November time frame. So we still have a few weeks to go, but I'm already starting to see some fall-like colors out there. I don't know if you've noticed it, but as you drive out and about, you'll notice it more and more as we continue over the next several weeks. So breaking down when you'll likely see the greatest chance for those colors to start appearing, well, in about 3 weeks we'll be near peak, but more likely 4 weeks will be right there in the middle, I'm gonna say middle, in the middle part of November, and that's when we'll likely see the most vibrant fall colors here across central Alabama. But I also wanted to take you guys to that garden forecast really quickly, because if you're looking to either blow some leaves this week or get outdoors and do some yard work, well, I'm giving you the green light. We don't have any wet weather this week, as you've heard, still dealing with very, very dry conditions. Well, still ahead on First Weather Extra, we're going to continue to talk about the warmer weather for the week. No rain though. Plus, we're going to talk about the science behind steel in this week's Moment of Science.
And welcome back into Weather Extra. Tania was talking about the fall colors. Check out this picture from Oak Mountain State Park from Cindy Stepanoff, sharing this on my social media feeds. But you can see those fall colors are starting to pop out there. But over the next few weeks, we'll see those fall colors really starting to kick in and shine across the state. 6 o'clock in the morning, we're going to have some cold weather out there early in the day. Don't forget the jacket. A lot of 40s, maybe even a few upper 30s out there. We're seeing those big temperature fluctuations during the day and the afternoon. Well, we're going to be back in the 80s for highs. This is showing at 2 o'clock some upper 70s, mid 70s out there. So it's crank up the heat at night and crank up the AC during the afternoon. But looks like next few days we're going to continue this pattern here. Maybe not as cold during the morning, but still that fall chill is going to be in the air early in the day. I want to take you into next week as we look at that long range forecast, looking at Halloween. There's 10:30, 10:31. Right now it looks like we're going to stay dry through this month. Not a drop of rain measured, and based on the long range guidance, some of these models are outliers here, suggesting we might get a shower around by early November. There's a front that we were talking about last week. The models still show that front, just can't promise we're going to see a lot of rain. So when we get in droughts like this, it's tough to break out of these patterns. Sooner or later we will, but at this point I don't know if that's going to be the system to quite do it there towards the end of next week. But at this point, that's our next best hope, at least, for a chance or a drop of rainfall. Tropical storm Oscar won't be a problem. As we told you, that system just kind of did a little loop out here and it ended up turning to the north. It's moving back across the Bahamas, and it's going to approach Bermuda but stay out over the Atlantic. But no concern for our area. I think for us, I know hurricane season goes to the end of November, but I would be shocked if we did see a system that threatened the region or at least the state of Alabama between now and the end of hurricane season. The chances are very low, and you'll notice right there Thursday, Friday, back to near 85 degrees. A hot afternoon there. Saturday and Sunday, temperatures kind of level off. Saturday, there's a cold front that moves in. Unfortunately, no rain with that, so the weather looks great for Saturday. It will be breezy out there, but there's a chance on Saturday that that's actually levels off the temperature, so went just a little bit cooler by Sunday and Monday, highs back in the 70s. And right now, looking ahead to next Thursday, you see Halloween. At this point, it looks like dry conditions. We're keeping the forecast dry with 80 degrees, cooling off into the 50s for all the trick-or-treaters there next Thursday night. But we'll keep you posted on that 10-day forecast. With the weather being so dry, we've had perfect conditions for sky watching, and the Orionid meteor shower actually peaked last night, and still a chance tonight, midnight to dawn. If you just simply look up, you may catch some of the meteors moving across the sky. I always say we go on a Ring doorbell camera alert because someone always captures a photo of a shooting star, and typically when we have these meteor showers, you'll see a greater chance of that. But a clear, chilly conditions out there for tonight. May still catch the comet this evening as well. But how about a lovely photo submitted by one of our junior weather watchers, Mackenzie Taylor. And this is from Miss Lakeisha Buford's third grade class at Charles Hardy Elementary School. And certainly want to thank you for this lovely pumpkin and lovely fall colors there. A lovely fall photo, and you can share those fall color the weather photos with us on the weather app or at WBRC.com. We love to share those right here. It's all about the pumpkin spice, the pumpkins, and the low tire air pressure gauges. Have you seen that on your dashboard yet with the cooler weather?
Not yet.
The low air
I am
pressure?
out of windshield fluid, but I don't think it has to do with the cold weather.
Yeah. Well, it does. Yeah. You get the low air pressure because of the temperature differentiation. We call it low tire pressure season around here.
I said I'm out of windshield.
Oh,
wiper
okay.
fluid.
Oh, no. Well, maybe so. It's been so
I was about
dry.
to say it could be part of it though. But yeah, definitely tires are okay for right now. Windshield wiper fluid, that needs to be fixed. But I just wanted to say that Lakeisha's classroom, I'll be visiting and bringing weather in the classroom to their fun school early November. So stick around for that, and we'd love to, from now to then, show more of their pictures and of course your photos. So send in that weather in the classroom picture. Okay, let's get past that. Beyond the 7-day, guys, what are we expecting as we close out October? It flew by. Here we are looking 6 to 10 days out, October 27th through the 31st. it looks like some states could be seeing above average precipitation, but hate to say it, that does not include us here across central Alabama. We're looking pretty dry with more below average rainfall and maybe more just around average, but it's not unusual this time of year to be so dry. So that's possibly why we're seeing more near average rainfall, which could be zero, none, not a drop of rain. But as we look at temperatures, October 27th through the 31st, below average for the Pacific Northwest, including North California, parts of Nevada. But as we look across most of the United States, above average temperatures, it's going to be pretty hot as far as this time of the year goes. We're seeing highs in the 80s throughout this week for some days and maybe in the upper 70s. Those afternoons have been so warm. So we're tracking warmer than normal conditions as we close out this month. And that means hopefully you have a pretty pleasant trick-or-treating night. So most years I feel like it's so chilly and cold when you're out there getting candy. But hopefully this year, the nighttime won't be too bad. A sweater jacket so you don't have to really cover up your costume too much. But from the kitchen sink to the operating room, stainless steel has been around for more than a century. Dan Smith has the when and why behind those gleaming features in your moment of science.
It's a shining example of science in action, even if it doesn't look all that active. This week, we're finding out how stainless steel came to be. Here's the key difference between regular and stainless steel. The former is almost entirely made of iron with small amounts of carbon, or more if you so choose. Much of the stainless variety, though, trades lower iron content for chromium and a bit of nickel to help strengthen it. Let's go back to 1912, the same year the Titanic sank from a much different type of metal fatigue. At that time, steel cutlery and pans and the like were very prone to rust, with iron interacting with the oxygen in the air to make that brownish orange iron oxide. Enter Harry Brearley of Sheffield, England, who is building a better way to keep the inside of gun barrels from eroding with high temperatures. He ended up creating something close to that alloy combo we mentioned earlier, but didn't think much of it until he tried bathing it in his usual nitric acid solution and realized that chromium mixture was resisting the chemicals. Brearley called it rustless steel, but eventually became stainless by the time it hit the market in 1915. There's evidence of companies like Ford calling it rustless right into the 1930s, but the end result is the same. Brearley did end up creating an alloy that could withstand temperatures of at least 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit. By the end of the Roaring 20s, over 25,000 tons of it were produced worldwide. Today, it's around 58 million tons, or about 3% over the overall steel market. You might be saying, well, if it's so great, why don't we make everything out of it? Just kind of like the old, why don't they make the whole plane out of the black box material routine? Well, cost is the big one, about 3 to 5 times that of regular steel production, and adding different metal combos for more specialized things keeps that budget ballooning. That chromium does oxidize, by the way, just like the iron does. But instead of looking ugly and unsafe, that little layer of chromium oxide, just a few nanometers thick in some cases, keeps that pesky oxygen from reaching the more susceptible iron. As a bonus, if that layer gets scratched or eroded, more forms to take its place without bleeding off onto or reacting with other materials. That's what makes it so good for kitchen use, holding up to everything from cutting acidic lemons to washing dishes in the sink, as well as surgical tools, pipes, and a bunch of airplane parts. But why don't they make the whole plane out of it? Because even the Wright brothers figured out early on that steel weighs a lot more than aluminum. Kind of need the thing to fly to be of much use. For this week's Moment of Science, I'm Dan Smith.
Pretty cool. Well, don't go anywhere because we'll be right back with a final check of your weather. You're watching First Alert Weather Extra.